Yeah, I'm not going to write all my contact details there because I think in this age you can probably find people more effectively on other mediums. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll explain a bit of the sort of the journey and all of that. It'll be very brief, hopefully. I think it's on the key with PowerPoint, and I'm not going to cover a whole lot of other stuff. So starting is half the challenge. You'll find that you have an interest. You'll be running around in the box. You'll think about it, then you'll think about it again. Maybe you'll read the VA book a bit. My advice would be, it took me a very long time to just fill in the application form. And the application form really is the start. It actually guides you. It tells you where to look. First of all, you have to read the VA book at least once. I mean, that's a given. But don't start studying it unnecessarily until you've actually done the application form, because it will drive you to the end. So you'll get there, and you'll actually find that you would identify, you'll learn through the process. You'll identify the gaps in your own experience. Maybe you'll see areas that you need a mentor, etc. Yeah, I mean, it was slightly more challenging when I applied. I applied on the paper-based bit, and then they switched over halfway through to online. Some advice on that: when you apply, pay the full fee. Don't pay. Well, I don't know if they've changed that, where you can now pay the exam later online. Because when I know there was some challenges. Quite a fun story. When I applied just for the application. They approved it, and then because we in Africa where the lions run in the streets, they don't want to give you the banking details to pay. So it was quite a story. You had to do like a bank draft. Yeah, they didn't trust us. So yeah, my gut tells me just go do it. If you want to do it, commit, fill in the application form, get it done. I think that's the key. It'll show your commitment. Because you've got some skin on the game, you'll actually progress. Apply the VA principles. Decompose the problem, tackle the pieces, place it into context, and communicate. Communicate those requirements to yourself, communicate them to your colleagues, communicate them to other people that are trying to solve the same problem. That's what we do in our jobs. We tend to not do that in our, well, I certainly don't always apply it in my own life that effectively. And to do this business analysis yourself, because you'll get there quicker. You'll solve the problem. Your problem being that you want to be a CCBA or a CBAP. So begin with the end, book the exam. So once you've got the application, just book the exam, burn the ships. There's no turning back, because then you know that you can do it. My personal journey, I was talking to Robin earlier, you can probably do the studying in a month if you put your mind to it. I would not recommend drawing it out. My experience from talking to other individuals is that this type of exam tests your ability to unfortunately in some aspects regurgitate the BA book. Having said that, it's not a bad thing, because whilst you're effectively memorizing this thing, you would contextualize and position your experience. And positioning it will highlight for you the obvious things that you've missed in your everyday work. So for instance, when you're having a conversation around a business case, you'll position it in enterprise analysis. You'll position where in that business case you're doing capability gaps. You'll know those things, and you'll know the correct terms, which helps you to communicate your requirements. So not only will help you develop it, it will help you in your work. I think that's absolutely crucial. And set the objectives. So for instance, what I did is I created a lot of summaries, because that's how I learn, and I just memorized these things. And I've got some examples. I mean, don't follow my technique. I think find your own groove and just do it. The key thing is that you must just go and do it. It's one of those exams where it's not the actual exam in the multiple choice fashion. Some of the questions are a bit strange. I'll share with you. Sounds like somebody translated them from English to Chinese and back into English, because they obviously generated from a computer. So you need to know. So some of the examples, what I did is I just created schematics of the inputs, outputs, and kind of where they go. I'm not going to focus on them because it's not that important. I just summarized the things that matter to me, typically the inputs and the outputs, and I just memorized those things. And then of course read. For me, important things would be today we've got a stronger IIBA in South Africa. So the keys would be, the key to success would be leverage that. Contact the existing CBAP, contact the chapters, participate in these groups, because you can form groups that can, I suppose, put a bit of pressure on you. Because this getting the certification, if that's your objective, to get certified, don't get lost in just discussing the topics. Get into a group where you push yourself. That's really, in a nutshell, my journey took me, if I had to, it took me probably about a year to also complete the application form. To do the application form, you probably need about 20 hours of work in filling in the application form, unless you like an uber structured person and you've noted every bit from the start of your career on according to the knowledge areas, which I haven't seen anybody like that. So it'll take you time. It'll take time. You need to, go dig in the archives to find the references, not the references, the contacts. I recently had to do a reference for someone that at MTN will also be writing and applied. And the reference side of it, I don't know if anybody else has done it, is very much, or completed one for someone, is very much a business worded test of whether the person's doing business analysis. So they ask you, did they communicate, the interactions? Did they facilitate the sessions? They kind of want to validate that the person applied business analysis techniques in the work environment and on I suppose other persons and customers. I think that's it. I work for MTN. I've been told that we are the only corporate member in South Africa as a company. Encourage your companies to invest in this, encourage your companies to support it, and that'll also make your life easier, because then your work, your KPIs, your job naturally aligns to it, I think. That's it. Thank you.